السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.
We're reading on page 4 from
Book of Creation.
in the Book of Creation. Question in the middle of the page. Gravity?
What is it? Where is the question? No. Before that, just in the middle of the previous paragraph,
Okay.
gravity and repulsion, motion, and similar phenomena.
All right. Gravity and repulsion, motion, and similar phenomena are names of divine principles or ways of operating represented as laws.
Well, I think this sentence, who is going to tell me what is it, what this sentence is saying to us?
The way I read it is that the very existence of a phenomena such as gravity or these forces that we observe, the very existence of it is are itself, manifestations of God's qualities.
But here it says there are names of divine principles. We can say instead of divine principles, divine qualities, or names of divine principles. It means qualities of divine principles manifested. Yeah, manifested in the world. Why do people talk about gravity, repulsion, motion, this kind of, they call it natural laws? Why do they say this, natural laws? And this text, the short sentence, it says, no, you are mistaken, misnamed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you explain us?
Why they're called natural laws by people?
Yeah.
Because they're not attributing any causation, or
they're
not identifying any causation to it, or a source to it.
Yeah.
They're just implying that they are self-existent, things happening by itself, but there's no reference to what is the source of it.
They are not giving reference to. Can they explain that they exist themselves, self-existing ones?
No, they don't make
Has anybody heard any explanation that these natural law, they call it natural laws, quote unquote, natural laws, whatever, mainly gravity, let's use gravity with the most commonly used one, the gravity, law of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any sign in the universe, forget about our belief and my religious background or whatever it is, forget about them, just think, is there any sign in the existence that these laws are self-existing?
No.
Can we claim this, if we want to claim even? Can we claim that they are self-existing? First, experimentally, can we say that? Impossible. How about logically? Logical conclusion. Can we say that these natural laws, that we call them natural laws, logically, it must self-exist? Can we say that?
No.
Why? Now, the first one is obvious. No one can demonstrate it. The
Right.
first question. The second question needs the answer why. Why can we not claim that they cannot logically, or they cannot self-exist, and we cannot logically confirm it? Self-existence of these things confirmed logically. There may be some reasons. Shall I give you some guidance?
Sure.
We don't know the beginning of these laws. That's one. We don't know the end of these laws. What we experience, they are in operation. Now, logically, we say, yeah, they are in operation. But this observation that they are in operation and we don't know the beginning and the end of it, does it make necessary, logically necessary, that they self-exist?
No.
Why?
Because it must still have a cause, like agent
to arrange. Because
Right.
all laws, can we say this? Because all laws that we find out, it means something like constantly happening in the same way as we experience it, are in collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
They don't contradict each other, they complement each other. As far as we know, universe-wise, as far as we know, universe-wise. And it definitely needs what? A conscious agent to arrange them. That is logical. Yeah, you see, if you go into a lounge, you see the chairs arranged around one table. Can you say that? I didn't know. I didn't see who put them there. And they are always here like this. So it must self-exist. The arrangement of the lounge self-exist because it is always like this. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It looks ridiculous to me because I see it always operating in the same way. For example, seeing that, for example, this machine that I have is operating always in the same way. Does it prove that it exists by itself? It is self-existing? Logically? Because it operates always like this way. You get it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you press on certain button, it does the same function always. Well, so it makes sense that it is arranged in this way. Otherwise, I cannot see that this one key on the keyboard, is not operating by itself. It is in combination with all the operating elements in the computer and perfectly working. It needs intelligent agent, conscious agent, purposeful agent to have the whole computer work harmoniously, complementarily with each other, so that the result will be meaningful. Otherwise, there would be no meaningful conclusion result. But if it is meaningful, it means it needs intelligence. And when you look at the keys on the board, Do you see any agent, any intelligence, any consciousness in the keys and the wires and the electrical connection? It is absolutely illogical to say that these laws that we experience in the world are self-existing. Isn't that true or not? Does it make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't use your previous belief, anything. Just use your pure logic. Does it make sense? So you have to see the agent behind it, correct or not?
Like an act needs an actor.
Sorry?
An act necessitates an actor.
If the act is reasonable,
Right,
purposeful, meaningful,
right. Which
And
everything
physical
seems
to
to be. All acts seems to be.
yeah, every act, but even in act, we call them accidental. It means we didn't know the cause,
Right.
right? For example, I may say, oh, this person had an accident, right?
Mhm.
But it seems to be accidental, but in fact, within the laws, principles of the creation, the whole order, it happens. It doesn't happen accidentally. For example, I am here, and accidentally I have an accident in the junction. No, I have to go there. Another one who should come there, and one of us or both of us are speeding, and our brake didn't work, or we didn't have time to push the brake, or the car didn't stop because if the speed is high. For example, these are all happening within the law, principles of the order. But because we don't know exactly what was the cause within the order, we call it accident. But it's strange. Accident in Arabic is qada. You know, qadar, qada? Yeah. Qada means decision, not accident. In Arabic, qada means, in Turkish, kaza. Kaza means decision. Qadiyya means definite premise. The same word. Same word. But accident means secular. There is no accident, there is qada.
Good point.
Yeah, interesting, yeah.
Very revolutionary change of the way we view the world.
Yeah, but also revelation makes this name and describes the event with qada, not accident. Tashabih.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
There are no accidents. Everything is a setup, deliberate setup. Like there are no accidents in creation.
No, yeah.
It's
There's
just-
no accident.
yeah,
It's
it's just
everything consciously set up.
Because I, as a human being, fail to see the
Order
source of
is set up.
existence.
Order is set up. Human free will is also there. Human free will.
Mhm.
Order is set up. If you speed, let's say, 80 miles an hour,
Mhm.
and when you break the car or whatever automobile, does it stop immediately or slips? Right? That is the law. This is the law. Arranged in this way. Simple. Very simple. No, the author says, to this effect, because it is not logically, rationally acceptable. It is to be rejected, logically, to be rejected, right? Okay. What the author says, yes, these phenomena, what we call them laws, are names of divine principles. Now, what do we mean by here, names of divine principles? They are not coming, so take your share. That's the one. So, divine principles.
Like manifestations of divine quality.
What do you mean by divine quality?
Then the quality, what I observe about the order or these natural forces is reflecting the attributes of the one who causes it,
And this causes.
the one that created everything.
So, what this is its nature?
That it's absolute.
How do you describe this or define this cause?
Then this cause has to be absolute in nature so that it can not only create each and every of these so-called phenomena, but also create the interaction between them, anticipate, arrange them, have their constant movement and functioning, like create that motion and create that consistent harmony and orchestration throughout. So at every level of space and every level of time in those experience phenomena.
Mm.
Like it has to have that absolute quality to do it from.
Anything absolute is called divine.
Should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be defined or identified with divine. When we say divine, it means nothing to do with this universe, but everything depends. Everything, the existence of everything depends on its act of creating. That's what divine names mean. Act of creating. The actor has these qualities demonstrating to conscious beings. Simple, isn't it? The actor has these qualities demonstrating to conscious beings. So simple.
The way he's operating.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, this is demonstrating, and we see it here. We see the demonstration. Now, when you look at any art, anything made, what you see there, the manifestation of the actor's qualities in it. Right? Simple. When you read the text, it sounds as if just states the conclusion without giving the reason. But he has given the reasoning for it previously on many occasions. Now he is using his conclusion, which he reached previously in his writings. Mm-hmm.
Should we continue?
Yes.
They may be accepted as laws.
Yeah, okay. There is nothing wrong to say laws.
Mm-hmm. Consistent within this universe.
Yeah. Principles. What's wrong there? The people say laws.
Right.
But what's wrong in the language of the scientists, philosophers?
Well, he goes on to say that they do not provide a foundation of an agent nature.
Foundation of an agent nature. It means when they say, which kind of language they use? They don't use only laws. They say
procedure.
No, they say
Nature.
something laws. Yeah.
Natural laws.
What is the significance of this magical word?
Then it happens by itself.
Sorry.
That it's no beginning, no end to it. Like that it has self-sustaining qualities.
Self-sustaining, self-existing. Natural means this. Nothing agent. There is no agent. Yeah, natural laws means really natural laws is a very philosophical and false, irrational philosophical naming the reality of the universe. But completely lost. No one can prove it. It's a very tricky language they use. When you say, they say natural laws, when you say there is no natural laws, their response is what? Do you deny that there's no gravity? Yes, there is gravity in the principles of the order of the universe, but this is not natural. It is a qada, a principle established by the one who established the whole system of the universe. It is a qada, it is not natural. It's a deliberate, conscious decision. Makes sense to me. The other is just playing with the word. Really, these materialist scientists playing with the word only. But cheap people, maybe themselves too, but some of them know that they are cheating people by playing with the words. I heard once one speaking like this, slips the word. Slips the word. Quran says, don't use the, don't change, don't flip the word from its real context, using it another way. But not within that context, saying that they claiming that they self-exist. They don't say they self-exist. People self-existing, let me question. But when they use the word, keep using the word natural, it becomes a familiar word. And you don't question. People don't question. Speak to them. Speak to them and say, it's naturally, yes. Now, there is snow on the ground. Yeah, of course, it was snowing last night. It is just natural that you find snow on the street, on the ground.
They say mother of nature. Mother of
Yeah, or Mother Nature.
Mother nature.
Yeah, because it gives birth to it, or it is so obvious, observed. It gives birth. Nature itself produces it. And what is nature? The universe itself. The universe itself produces itself. Stupid. Tricky language. Okay.
They may be accepted as laws provided they are not promoted to being the foundation of an agent nature. Being only names or titles or having nominal existence.
And that is signed by human beings. Assigned by human beings, names, titles, nominal existence. We say laws exist because there are principles, right? Of course, I can say there are principles, laws, in the way that the computer works. But it doesn't mean that there is a law and there is a computer and the law comes into the form of computer and makes itself as a computer itself. No agent, no engineer, no programmer, no processor. Got it? So that's what cheating the language, cheating with the language.
That the law is the source of existence of whatever's created. Is that what you're saying? Cheating the language?
Yeah, but the way it's created, the way the agent arranged it. Accordingly, it is functioning. Otherwise, the things, the pieces of the computer cannot function by itself if it is not programmed. It is not arranged by a conscious being. So simple. But of course, their mind is conditioned. Conditioned to what? I'm not going to accept an agent. Condition. Okay?
Because they don't see that an agent operating in the universe.
No,
That's the
not
one
they
reason.
don't. They condition themselves that there is no such thing. So let me explain the word. So when you say that, for example, the example, is a big table and chairs around it. The simplest thing. Yeah. If you want to deny it, yeah, what do you say? I found it as it is. It's prepared for you. I don't know. I found it as it is. It happens. It happens itself like this. Because you don't want to accept the one who arranged it and be thankful or pay for it. That's what I want. It's the word life. Pay for the room because it is deliberately arranged for you. So they want to deny it. If you block this way, that I'm by saying that I'm not going to accept the agent who did it, prepared it for me. What do you have to say? What is left? What is the alternative for you to say? There's no just forget about this. Well, how can I explain? It has always been like this. As I found it, well, it must be like this by itself.
You're cheating yourself.
Cheating yourself.
Denial
Yeah,
is really
some of
cheating
them know
yourself.
that they are cheating themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of them know that, but they are cheating themselves for the sake of argument, just to win the argument. Just to win the argument, they know that they are playing with the words and replacing the word from its place, what the Quran says. But unfortunately, the readers of the Quran or the commentators of the Quran attributed to the children of Israel played and replaced the meaning of Torah from its own context. Come on, I don't know what they did. But I cannot prove it that they did this, replace the meaning of the word from its context and changed it according to their wish. This is the example given in the Quran. But if we see that the Quran's view is the universe is a book, and what we do, we change the words from its real meaning and put it in another context. For example, laws are correct. There are such principles, but not physical and external existence form. But we know that there is order. And there are principles within the order. We know that. But it is a sign that it is arranged by a conscious being. So what they do you deny the laws? No, I don't. Then laws are the effective ones. Because it happened, something happened because of the law. With the trick. Now the context changed
Oh, I see.
and gave and also loaded the word laws with the meaning natural laws.
Trying to find a cause within the universe. That's the whole point, I'd say.
Because not because they have seen any sign for it. Why? We have to understand why people deny. I'm not saying why high school students or college students deny. They are imitating. Yeah, they want to be free.
But why you were saying, like, why do people in their, let's say, adult life, living their life, do not, or in this case, deny instead of ignore?
Yeah. Why? Previous decision bias. I'm not going to accept religion. Religion is baseless. Why? There is a reason. I always say this, and we have to admit there is a legitimate reason for them to claim this, because the way religion is presented to them doesn't make sense.
You know, it's every time like people will, no one I've talked to will disagree that the table must have a carpenter or like someone who made it, right? But
That's logical,
right,
not experiential, logical.
logical,
But the materialists say this is experiential because you have seen it.
right?
But logically, even if I don't see it, if something happens, logically it must have a
Nature.
cause within this order of universe.
Right,
Because there's some stupid ones, really idiot ones, are not all the stupid, idiot ones say, what is the cause of God then? If everything has a God, but it is not within the universe.
mm-hmm.
It is absolute. So you cannot question the source of existence of absolute. It is just my conclusion.
Right.
Must be, yeah.
Right, and I find that when that example applies to the world and two things combine, an agent and not of the nature of this universe, that's when immediately, no matter how convinced somebody was, that's when they maybe you're right, like they connect that agent and outside the universe to an idea of their previous idea of God, and that's when
They
the
heard.
whole thing
They
falls.
heard from religious institutions,
Right, or just I don't know,
from
society,
community.
right?
Yeah.
Community,
So
and
they
no
don't
matter
see
how
the logic in it.
logical the statement is, somehow an agent or conscious agent of not of the nature of this universe, people just get very scared by, I don't know, concluding on it. They feel like it's not in their capacity to conclude it, and hence they will say, I don't know if this is true. But it is in their capacity to conclude.
It must be, otherwise we
Right,
won't be
right.
responsible. We won't be talking about it. How did you get
You
it?
can, and I've noticed that you can talk about how arranged the order is, how great everything is working together, harmony, universality, everything. But when it comes to agent part, it loses it.
But some materialist scientists condition themselves that I am not going to accept anything which I cannot experience it here.
Right.
The logical conclusion, because they cannot
Experience.
experience it, so they
Yeah.
knock it down.
See it mostly, just like physically see it.
They are physically seeing it by describing it. Their mind, reason, has fallen on their eyes. So what they see is reasonable for them. What they don't see and experience, it means experience, physical experience, they don't accept, because their mind is not working independently. They condition their mind to their experience. So by definition, the creator cannot be of the nature of universe. And then if something is not within the universe, you cannot experience it. But logically you can conclude. So logical thinking is an abstract thinking. But experience is not abstract. It is practical.
Interesting point. You said that if something is not within the universe, that then you cannot experience it.
Experience physically
Yeah.
in terms of universe.
Well, yeah, because if you conclude something to be absolute, then
No, even it's not. The computer must have an engineer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you experience the engineer in the computer, or do you see the qualities that the engineer has reflected in the computer? Which one?
The qualities that the engineer has.
Yeah,
reflected.
that's why you comfortably conclude that this machine must have been conscious, knowledgeable, maker,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That's why you conclude it, although you have never seen the engineer,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So what is the difference between a computer and a tree? Tree is million times more complicated than the computer working billion maybe times. So computer must have an engineer, but the tree, no, it happened by itself. That is the idiocy of these materialist scientists that they claim.
Yeah,
Even
it's
though-
also interesting that the idea, or not the idea, but like the I guess the concept of a divine agent only exists in religion. There is no other discipline that I
That
know.
is another interesting point that we emphasized on during messengerships, where we are studying messengership. You can find all the philosophies contradicting each other and coming from another perspective, challenging the previous ones. Okay, I mean, it doesn't mean that if someone challenges the previous ones, it should be wrong. Not necessarily, but interesting in history. All the philosophers have been coming down by contradicting each other. All the prophetic messages have been coming down
Confirm.
by confirming each other. That's an interesting aspect of creation. By nature, it must be in this way.
This is
Yeah.
interesting. I'm just wondering about the nature of contradiction, as in my idea contradicting with your idea. There is an element of preconditioned notion or maybe a bias
Then
for
I'm
me to
better.
be
I am better.
Yeah, or this is it. I proved it. All right, that's it. Don't make me
So-
think again. Don't make me.
We have to be very careful in our practical life. When we talk about the religions, we should not say that the religions are contradicting each other. That's why these atheistic people in sociology area, in the field of sociology, they say religion caused conflict among the people. That's about it. Fighting, idiocy of the people who claim that they follow religion, fighting each other. What we have to say, look, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, whatever, agreed on one point. That's what the Quran says. We agree one point, one word, a common word among us. So, but in the interpretation of it, people may differ. And it's quite normal. Interpretation is human. But the message is divine. So we have to see the common point in them, which is always there, but interpretations, practical side of it, historical effects is another matter. Human beings may have different interpretation of it, but no one says there is no God in the name of religion, any religion. Religion. But maybe the very commonly known Buddhism says there is no God. They don't say there is no God. We don't know him, but forget about it. They say, we don't know. We cannot really experience. So we have to concentrate within the universe. That is, but Buddhism is not a religion. It is a tradition. It's a kind of philosophy of Buddha.
School of life.
School of thought, yeah. A human-made thing.
You know,
It doesn't claim, Buddhism doesn't claim that its origin is divine. Doesn't claim that. So we cannot categorize it we cannot put Buddhism into the category of religion. All religion claim that they are divine. And all religion who claim that they are divine have a common point, especially as far as explaining the existence is concerned. Practical life differ, even in my personal life. In the morning, I eat something. In the evening, I eat something else. Change. And you may do the reverse. Doesn't matter. Some people have breakfast in the evening. Now, breakfast-like stuff. Quite normal. That's human freedom. But the essence of the message is the same. There is one God, and God has created you, and He arranges your life according to His will, teaches you, you have benefit. You need to benefit from His teaching in order to get your human side on the track, right track, so that you can manage your life in the best way, which is appropriate to your nature, the way you are created. Okay, I think this, this sentence was.
Just one point. You know the point about you're giving the analogy of the computer. When I'm interacting with the computer, right, I conclude that it must have a maker because I experience the qualities of the maker manifested in it.
No, I experienced, let's correct
I experience the qualities.
Qualities in it which cannot be attributed to its parts. Now, that is the logic we should never, ever ignore. I experience the way the computer exists and functions in a way that the qualities in it cannot be attributed to its parts. So I have to look an external agent. Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
No, language must be finely tuned. And you cannot just say that the universe is, the computer manifests the qualities of the engineer. Or the first of all, where did you get the engineer? Yeah? That is why people find it easy to reach religious idea. Where did you get the idea of God? It is just your imagination. No, we don't use God. Do you notice that we don't use God? Never, but while we are reasoning, we don't use the notion of God or our belief in God, if somebody believes in it, in order to reason. It is, we always say this, is the main principles that we have to notice. You cannot use the conclusion of previous reasoning in order to prove another reasoning. But another reasoning. Right?
Yes, of course.
So what we have to do, if the first reasoning is correct, then this must be so. But still, the first reasoning has if clause. So, if you want to prove the second pattern of reasoning, you have to prove it within itself. For example, I believe in God, that there is such a thing that must exist. So, therefore, I believe in the Quran. No, it is another matter. Not therefore I believe in the Quran. You have to believe, if you want to reason about the truthfulness of the claim of the Quran, you have to prove it within the teachings of the Quran itself. So I believe in the angels because Quran says there are angels. It is again false. Well, for common people, it may be the reason. They cannot explain further. They cannot go deep. So, but for you and me, I never accepted angels exist because Quran says so. which is stupid.
That's a really good point. I'm sorry. I just, you said that I cannot use the conclusion that I derived at in my previous reasoning to help me with the next reasoning.
Next reasoning.
Yeah.
Next pattern of reasoning.
Just,
No, you can't.
it's gone. That conclusion is gone.
Well, it belongs to the first one.
Yeah.
So you have to have your reasoning in order to prove that Quran must be the speech of the divine being. And you have to independently prove that the messengers must be Quran's message. Must be independently proven that it is necessary. You cannot say if there is God, he must send the messenger.
Yes.
No. It doesn't work. If there is God, if it belongs to what? The proof for the necessity of the existence of God.
Mm-hmm.
That is another subject.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to independently study that.
This is interesting. And it applies to like belief matters as well. Like every moment, if you're really conscious of interacting with the qualities, so whatever you conclude later on, you can't use that same conclusion. It's a new experience given. But the more you train, exercise with like the interaction and coming to a conclusion, that preps you up for concluding or tackling the exercises, I would say.
Correct.
That's interesting.
So even if related to the actions, religious actions, if you want to reason why I have to pray, I cannot say only, but reason. Look, practical is different, but reason. Why should I pray? Because I believe in God. God ordered me to pray. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why? Well, first of all, if belief is in God is correct, it belongs to it. So my prayer, performing the prayer, needs another reason for myself. So I realize, start from the scratch now. I understand and realize that I am made. So I am made in such a way that I'm made with some qualities that I need to express myself in verbal form, in physical form, and also in logical form. Right. I have to look at myself and see whether I really need to express myself about my conclusions, physically, verbally. Think about it. Yeah. So then I have to perform what my conclusions are. My conclusions are in physical form. It means I am created. That was my first premise. Now I also think that, yes, I am created independently. I am created. So I have been given existence. So I am grateful for it. So if you are grateful, you have to be gracious to the one who gave it to you. So who gave it to you? Now I look at the universe, I can find any source. I cannot find any source which is likely to give me existence. Yeah? To endow me with the qualities as I have. So it must be a source of existence of the universe. So I have to communicate with the source of the existence of the universe and express myself in verbal form, physical form.
I think it's also interesting, at least within this example, that the time at different times of the day. I mean, I can also say, like, I feel differently at different times of the day also.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a way it is, it's at different times of the day I have to renew my conclusion also.
Yeah, through your experience.
Through my experience of like,
And the
at this
conclusion-
time I still feel, or at this time I also observe these things and these things about myself, and it is time, like it is a new time to acknowledge, and then creation also being renewed constantly kind of refreshes this idea, or should, logically should, but experience is a little different.
When you go to a restaurant, you eat and pay. Right? Second time, you go and eat again. Do you pay again? Or no, I paid yesterday. The restaurant guys will gather around you and beat you up. So anytime you receive something, you have to respond back. The creative doesn't need payment, but responding back, acknowledgement. So simple, acknowledge. Say, I'm grateful to you, you gave me this. Wow, so there are other things as well. How should I acknowledge it? What is the function of the prophet, etc., etc. These are other arguments that we studied prophethood for more than a year. So reference must be given to those studies. It is again, if you notice, there the prophethood, messengership is independently proven, not relating to the. If there is God, there must be a prophet. No, it doesn't work. No, for not human beings. Even if you are sure that there is God, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he has to send the messenger, but independently reasoning concludes that he has to send the messenger for you. Independently, you have to conclude it.
Okay, let's try to understand this together. If there's God, then there must be messengers.
Is wrong.
Why?
Study what messengership is. You will understand that within the messengership, not if there is a God, within the messengership, you have to establish a new reasoning now concerning to believe in messengership. For example, you have to say, look, the life is meaningful, and what makes it meaningful? Not the parts of the universe itself, right? I think there's something on my eye here. Seems to be there's somebody looking at the window and asking for the door to open. So I could, but there was something here. That the air looks like a man. That's human perception. Okay. You have to reason within that context. Independently. How do you explain your existence? Right?
Oh my goodness.
So how are you going to get the meaning from the universe in the correct way? Without swerving it or attributing it to nonsense sources. So you have to say, it's meaningful? Of course. It's a book. As we said, the universe is a book. It must have an author. Right? So the real meaning is known by author. If the author says, look, I'm going to send an instructor. So do we need instructor? Independently think now. Do I need instructor to understand the book? It has many layers of meaning within each other.
What's the starting point of all this?
No?
What's the starting point for establishing the belief in all these entities?
The starting point is, when I see the universe, it is meaningful. It's a book which is meaningful.
It must have an author.
Must be. And definitely, the author must know what it is in it. What the meaning in it. Must know it.
And now, again, so I'm just trying to connect like the dots. So the author must know the meaning of this universe, and then I question, and then I say, hey, somebody must send me instructor. So this author must send me.
I need teaching.
No,
for example.
Not this author must send me a teacher.
No, before this. If the universe is so wonderful, so meaningful, meaning within each other, meaning with each other, can I discover everything without the teacher? Why do I go to school? Why everybody goes to school? Why? And listens to the teacher. Why? To imitate the teacher? No.
You need a teacher to help.
To learn and discover and make sure that it makes sense to him. So when you follow the prophet, when you say that, okay, a prophet, I'm shortcutting. Now, the prophet must teach me the meaning of the universe and how to utilize it. Yes, but not imitation. I must listen to him or listen to his message and does it make sense to me? Another reasoning again. Independent reasoning again should start. When you read a sentence from the Quran, especially related to existential problems, when you read it, you say, I must confirm it. Not because it is God's word, so he knows better. I don't need to confirm it because I accept God as the all-knowing one.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't make sense. Again, jumping from one reasoning pattern into another reasoning pattern. Yes, they are related. When you say, I need a prophet or the messenger or instructor to put the idea of the book or the meaning of the book into practice in my life, I need a teacher. Okay. But that is another reasoning. I cannot jump into the other, but they are related because do I really need an instructor? Is it a simple matter to communicate with the universe by myself? Do I need to invent the things new, or let me listen to the teacher who has educated himself, herself before, and let me listen to him and then see what he says, true or not. Not because he's a teacher. I wrote it in one of your notes this morning. So not because he's a teacher, he knows better than I do, so I accept it. That is not belief. That's imitation. So what we have to do, listen to the teacher and see the consistency in what he says within your own capacity. Not imitation.
That's interesting.
That's what we don't do. Usually, the believing communities rare. They say he knows, God knows better, then we have to follow him. That's imitation. But when they go to school, do they do the same thing? Professor knows better, I have to follow him. Learn from him, but confirmation of what you learned belongs to you, or the rests on you. Whether you confirm it or not because professor said so. Can you confirm it?
First step is to listen.
Sorry?
First step is to listen to the
Because
teacher.
I find myself, I need a teacher. I need a teacher to teach me how to make sense of my existence and the existence of the other world around me. I need a teacher, but it doesn't mean that I have to imitate it. These subjects are so subtle subjects. For example, if you do an action, for example, let's say you pray. Okay? You pray today. Perform to pray. Okay. Why do you do that? Because you know that. You have learned that the prophet did this, and you must be aware that if the prophet did this, you must have your logical conclusion that what the prophet does is the chin of the Creator, because he says, I don't know anything by myself. The Creator of the universe taught me, by definition. So you have to go back to now. The Creator wanted him to teach in this way, and I learned from it. What you have to do at the end again? Does this action make sense for me? That is what missing. Does this action, prayer, make sense for me? Can I confirm?
I think a little bit because of the nature of, I guess, growing up religious or Muslim or whatever. It can be a very difficult thing to sincerely question, because I can say, well, it doesn't make sense to me to pray, but sooner or later it has to. So there is like a little bit of a it's difficult to take that out of your head, because you do not see any, let's say, religious person or one believing in a divine creator not praying. There is, you don't see it. So you're like, I may not agree now, but eventually I will have to make my way there. So it becomes difficult to be sincere, but you can be. It is, you have to be still.
No, not necessarily. Some people who are reared or grown up in a religious family, while they are young, in their young ages, they pray, and then when they grow, they stop praying.
Right.
Not necessarily so. And also we, again, don't misunderstand. We say something in our classes, but I don't think it registers because we don't know the importance of it. While we are talking about a theory or a theoretical matter, we should never jump to practice. Practical side of it. For example, most of the Muslims who are grown in their Muslim family background, they follow religion Islam. That's what, don't you see that demography? People in Saudi Arabia for centuries, they are Muslim. People in, let's say, in America for centuries, they are Christian. And you see the people don't find it easy to change their religious tradition, religious narration. That is practical. Yeah, it is practical. It doesn't necessarily make that it is theoretically correct. So why we are here in this class, make it theoretically correct and confirmable. One of the principles, or there are many principles that we follow, whether you realize or not, in our discussions, we never confuse the theoretical theory. It means abstract reasoning with what is going on in the society practically. Right? You go to a prison and you live with people who commit different, right or wrong, we don't know. But example, different crimes. Now, looking around the people, well, you are a thief, you are a murderer, you are an abuser, you are such and such, you are cheated, you cheated the government. Well, all people are doing something wrong. Let me do one thing wrong as well. Is it logically, it is practically correct in prison, but logically, no. That's what we shouldn't confuse. So while we are reasoning, never take the example of the practice of the existing society or people. Never. But what you have to do, I am grown in a Muslim family background. Although my family background didn't teach me anything, but that was good. It was excellent for me. So they didn't claim any knowledge of Islam at all. Just follow their life, and I followed my life. But it was really, how do you say, releasing for me that I have to make up my own mind. But of course, Muslim, but it doesn't mean that you have to reject Islam. No, be independent or how do you say, be impartial. Be impartial. Is it really true to be a Muslim? Is it really true to be a Christian? Question it. Why? Does it make sense to you? That's not, but you have to confirm it. No imitation. If imitation was right, let's say atheist children follow the atheist parents, and it will be right for the children to follow and imitate the parents. Is it correct for the children to be an atheist?
No,
Say no. Okay. How about the Muslim?
technically no.
Exactly the same. You are born into a Muslim family. You follow the religions or belief of your family. Not necessarily mean that it is correct. So you have to make your mind up yourself. Yeah, you can hear, you can listen to people, but independently, freely question what you hear. True or not? If you question actually any culture, any cultural heritage will not convince you. You have to make your own belief for yourself as far as you are convinced about it. It's very challenging, quite hard, and it brings a lot of responsibility on us, but that's why we are here. That's what the Quran says. For example, every individual is a caliph orders independently from the community. Every individual is to find his creator by himself. And the Quran says, I, as the creator, but he claims, as the creator, I endowed you with this quality to find the truth yourself. So what we have to do now, not because Quran says so, can I find the truth by myself without imitating anybody, listening to others, but does it make sense to me? At the end, I have to question, does it make sense to me? Does it make sense to me? Right? It's hard. It's very easy to imitate the professor. That's what the common people do. You know, they say, oh, you know the famous professor last night in something, astronomy or whatever, said that the universe has 14 billion years of age. He knows, but it doesn't make you believe in it. You have to say, why? How did you come to this conclusion? And think, is it really? Does it really make sense? Within yourself. You are not a scientist, but does it really make sense to you? Okay. In order to know that this computer has an engineer, do you have to be an engineer? Do you have to be an engineer, computer engineer? Or use your reason? Yeah, some sort of engineer, whatever it is. Some sort of agent, whatever it is. You may use the name, you may not use the name, doesn't matter. But some sort of engineer must be. And these qualities I have seen in the computer must be given to it by its maker, whoever made it. Whoever made it. But definitely there must be a maker for my logical conclusion.
School analogy, I'm trying to wrap my mind around how I have to establish the reasoning for the necessity of messengership, the conclusion for that individually from that of the necessity of a necessarily existent one. Although they may be interrelated, as in
At the end, they may share the same conclusion.
At the end.
Just to help you.
Oh, I see.
At the end, they may share the same conclusion.
Mhm.
This universe is a conscious creator as an independent conclusion when you reason about the existence of the creator,
Mhm.
and when you reason about the necessity of the prophethood,
Mhm.
it may have the same conclusion, because if the conclusion is correct, pops up everywhere.
The same conclusion.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can make or try to solve an equation. Yeah. So there are two different equations. You are trying to demonstrate the solution for it, right? So while you are trying to demonstrate the solution for the first equation, you follow certain principles which makes sense to you.
Mhm.
Now, while you are trying the second, is trying to demonstrate how to solve the second equation, you may use the same principles if you are convinced about it. Not imitate, but put it into a new practice
Mhm.
of reasoning.
Sure.
If you are convinced,
Mhm.
as much as you are convinced, right? But you cannot say, I reached this conclusion in the first equation, solving in my attempt to solve the first equation. I reached this conclusion, and there, simple, very simple, x was equal to 5. There.
Mhm.
So when you see the x in the second equation, it means 5. Does it work? Ridiculous.
Yeah. So apply the same principles, but
But
then
the reasoning, same principles of reasoning. Yeah, as long as it is justifiable for you, it is acceptable for you to understand the difference.
Mhm.
You cannot say that in the first previous formula, x was equal to 5, so there is no need to work on it now. Put it there. Instead of x, to solve the problem, put it 5. Because I solved it there, 5. It makes 5 there, not here, man. So ridiculous. But what we do in our reasoning in the different pillars of belief, articles of belief, we copy paste.
Mm.
It doesn't work. It
Gotcha.
should work. But for those people who cannot really think, not like you and not any of you here, they may copy paste it. They say, of course, with our ancestor, religion of our ancestor is correct. They're copy pasting it. They, for any reason, because they are lazy, because they don't work, because they say, it is not my profession, I am here to make my worldly gains. Because of this decision, they didn't spend time for it. They have to copy paste. We cannot justify ourselves. Then, no, everybody is copy pasting it, so I should copy paste as well. Yeah, everybody is a criminal for a person in the prison. So I have to commit a crime as well. Everybody is a criminal. A criminal of something. So criminal is the common point for human beings. Imitation is the common point for human beings. So I have to imitate as well. Think, does it make sense? I mean, some simple examples convinces me more and more as I speak.
Thank you. Yes. Question. How do I explain? I know this is for myself. How do I explain absolute? That's obviously through my interaction and investigation. I can. No, how do I experience absolute? Can I experience absolute here?
Yeah.
No, it's a
Yeah, continue. You are on the right track. Continue. No, you can't.
no. I cannot because I only come to the conclusion of the absolute, so I cannot experience it.
Because by definition, absolute
Okay.
is
Not of the nature of this universe.
not the nature of this universe. And you cannot experience something which is not in it.
So when you say
But you can make, again, we use this expression, but you can confirm the necessary existence of an absolute agent.
Mm-hmm.
That's logical.
Sure.
Logical, not
Mhm.
experiential. Logical.
Experiential means physical experience?
Yeah, that's what we use
Oh.
in physical experience. This was some stupid, I don't really, I use some hard word, but stupid scientists to say, show me God is creating the universe. Idiot.
But if you think about it,
What do you mean by God, stupid man? What do you mean by God?
if you think
You
about
borrowed to God, word of God from my mouth. It was your conclusion and you don't know what you're talking about. You just accuse me.
yeah, so that's really ridiculous, asking to prove something physically. However, when I experience like qualities, feelings, emotions, that's not physical. But that's through.
No, but physically it means in a sense within the universe you are experiencing it.
I'm experiencing absolute.
No,
What am I experiencing within the
but
universe? You're saying?
something we cannot physically handle it, but you are experiencing it within the universe.
Mhm.
So you can question the source of these senses because they exist within the universe. You are experiencing it.
So I'm experiencing mercy, but it's not physical. But it's not like a physical experience, but I'm experiencing mercy.
Yeah,
So I
as a
question.
human being, you are.
Uh,
That's your reality. In the universe, you are experiencing.
So then I question the source of existence.
Yeah, where did I get it? As where did I get my nails? Where did I get my cells?
But those things
Where
are
did I get
physical.
my DNAs? Where did I get my decoded codes in my DNA?
Hmm.
Yeah, you can question, where did I get the sense of mercy?
Hmm.
Where did I get the sense of appreciation, for example? Where did I get the sense of being thankful? Where did I get them? Equally, you can ask, because they are all within the universe.
These experiences are all within the universe.
Yes, but the source of their existence, by definition, cannot be within
Of course.
the universe. So the source is a logical conclusion.
Oh yeah.
Now, the evidence is physical.
Mm-hmm.
Source of this evidence is a logical conclusion. That's how we are. We human beings are in this way.
Mm-hmm.
We function in this way.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, you come somewhere, you find something, you definitely question the source of it. Who brought it? How it came here? Not necessarily who, what. Maybe a wind brought it here. You find a leaf
Mm-hmm.
in the fall, in your room. What do you say? Oh, there must be an open space in the window or the door. The wind brought it, or a cat brought it, but an agent. But an agent, logical, an agent. So when you speak about the existence of it, what is the agent? The existence of the leaf,
Mm-hmm.
existence of the wind, existence of the cat, existence of a man who brought the leaf into your house,
Mm-hmm.
existence of this event, existence of.
Not within the universe, the existence of.
We cannot know that.
I
The
cannot.
source of existence, I cannot find it. That's why this is our
Slogan.
Sorry, slogan.
Mantra.
Yeah. Sorry?
Mantra.
Mantra. That's our mantra. We cannot experience the absolute one, which is not within the universe by definition. We cannot. But we can, as human beings, can confirm its necessary existence. It must. There must be. There must be. Huh? There must.
I was thinking about logic in general. It's just a conclusion. You cannot prove it
As
physically.
physically.
Even so, if you're like even proving like a formula logically, whatever you're doing, logical sequence. Oh, voila, my conclusion. What do you make out of this? As in,
By using logic,
mm-hmm,
how to solve the formula
mm-hmm,
or equation.
mm-hmm,
So you reach this conclusion.
mm-hmm,
But this conclusion was your
mm-hmm,
result of your attempt
mm-hmm.
of reasoning.
So that makes sense. So the same, like let's say you're proving a mathematical formula, same way I conclude logically a necessarily existent one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I got distracted with the brownies.
So you need more energy. Sugar is the source of energy. Created as the source of energy. Use your
Yeah, so we're saying that people are looking for physically demonstrated, like demonstrate this to me that the source of existence must be absolute. How can you demonstrate that? It's
No.
logical, right? I'm thinking if I prove something mathematically, let's say I'm just like following it and say, hey, the source of existence must be absolute. I proved it here, but it's really me expressing out my logical sequence in a piece of paper. Or am I going really crazy about this?
You can.
Okay.
Logical conclusions are
Mhm.
logical conclusions.
Yeah.
And physically, you cannot really experience.
Okay.
Yeah. For example,
I see
you
what you
solved the problem and came to the conclusion that x is equal to 5. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is your logical conclusion
Yeah.
because you solved the problem and reached this conclusion. The equation and reached this conclusion. Can you physically experience the conclusion within the formula or equation? No, just you logically understand that it must be.
Mm-hmm.
It must be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. For example, you found, let's say, an apple on the branch of an apple tree.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely say that this tree has no consciousness, no planning, whatever, all the qualities, necessary qualities to produce the apple. All human beings get together cannot produce one apple without apple tree.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so you're logically concluding all that.
Yeah, that's logic, the
reasoning,
conclusion. So you can say easily
Mm-hmm.
the fruit on the branch of the tree is not the result of the choice of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Who has decided it? Who has chosen? What has chosen? The nature of the tree is tree.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot say nature of the tree. The nature of the tree is tree. When we conclude that tree cannot do it
Mm-hmm.
itself because it doesn't have the qualities. They cheat the word with nature of the tree has it. But what is the nature of the tree? The tree is made in this way. If the tree cannot self-exist by a tree, as a tree, tree cannot make itself a tree.
That's very
It is made
Mm-hmm.
a tree. Because I see no quality in the parts of the tree to make it. In the cells of the tree, they have no quality to make the cell, to make the, let's say, chromosomes or whatever they are called. Scientifically, they named something else. Science names it something else. Okay, they call it DNA, whatever it is. So okay, DNA. Can DNA have conscious? What is it made of? Phosphor or something, a few things. And can phosphor have consciousness, choice, balancing, forming, purposefully choosing for the future what it is going to do? Qualities. So that's why we conclude that the qualities manifested in the universe point to the necessary existence of its creator as being the absolute one. Qualities in the creator, not the matter itself, but the qualities of the matter points to it. For example, when you look at a book, when you read a book, the qualities of the book points that it is made or written, authored by a conscious author. How did you know? Qualities I see on the page cannot be the product of the page. That's my conclusion. If you say, no, it is the product of the paper, is the product of the meaning there, go ahead with it. I'm not stupid to accept it. Right? So there must be an author. Sure. Somebody, some conscious thing must have arranged it, programmed it, whatever. Matter cannot program itself.
Why is that? Can I ask you like a little off-topic question? Like, why is it that I know I can only speak from my perspective, and from my perspective, it logically makes sense, and I have to continue to rework my conclusion as part of my life all the time. But why is it that it's a phenomenon with the majority? You know, like let's say.
Imitating.
Yeah. Why is it that 90%? Why isn't it like 50-50, 60-40? You know?
They don't choose it. Can you say why is it that everybody is not computer programmer? Can you do that?
That's a very specific skill. But when it comes to human experience, we are all experiencing the same thing.
No. Belief also a specific experience. Must be belief is personal. Why do you think we keep saying that belief is personal? You cannot inherit belief. You cannot imitate the belief of somebody who is professor in theology.
So it's unique.
It is unique to every individual. That's what God says in the Quran. That's why we find that God addresses the people, don't blindly follow your ancestors. No.
Or your professor.
Or don't blindly follow your professors. You have to make up your own mind. How many verses are there in the Quran saying that those people make the excuse that we found our forefathers in this way? How many? Not only once. Many times. Repeated. And this is the excuse of the people who reject the message of the Prophet. So, for example, when you come with a reasonable conclusion for yourself and say that, oh, it must be this way, not that way, for example, I cannot imitate. So the people around you say that, look, this is our religion, you have to follow. What do you say? Yeah. What do you say? Well, my father says so. I have to follow. Do you do that? My typical example is all your 7 generations backwards. Everybody is medical doctor. Does it make you a medical doctor? Yeah.
Kill people.
Yeah. Belief is personal. One of the, mantra of our classes, belief is personal. You have to conclude. You have to learn. Knowledge is personal. You have to learn. You cannot inherit from others and say that everybody says so, it must be so. No. You have to conclude. Especially about the conclusion which goes beyond the capacity of the universe, it must be yours.
Right.
Right? Okay, let's go ahead and, oh man, this is 12.
12%.
Okay, let's go ahead a little bit further. Because I need that, last Saturday, when we came to this sentence, no, stop it. It's not easy something. Stop it. Let's spend some time on it. last Saturday we didn't have time.
Mhm.
Now, okay,
We move to the question.
I said there shouldn't be a accorded real external existence. Now, the agent, of an agent. Okay, now being only, there's something there. You know last sentence there?
Yeah, being only names or titles or having nominal existence.
Assigned by human beings, naming them, putting a tag on them, putting a tag on them. Okay?
They should not be accorded real external existence.
Yeah. That we cannot say this is a real external
It's just a
existence
name.
because, but what are we talking about? We have to be careful. Something related to something within the universe. If something is related within the universe, it must have an external existence. Something, yeah? That's why the Quran says, we created everything according to the principles of creation in this world, right? There is nothing in this world which occurs without a cause, right? When we are reasoning, for example, we found that mind is employed there. When we are seeing, we find that eyes, meat, a kind of fat, is the cause. Now, this is within the universe. Yeah, it's within the universe. But if you conclude about the existence of something which is not within the universe, yeah, it must be absolute, and that's your conclusion. But what they say, this natural laws, now is attributing the existence of something to these laws, that it is responsible for the existence of this effect. So they say natural. What is natural, you ask them? It is something within the universe. Then it must have an external existence. Yeah, it must have a reality in this universe. You can physically experience it. If it is something human emotions, you have to experience it within the universe yourself right now.
Oh, similarly, if it's something that you claim to be natural, then you must be experiencing.
Yeah, experience it. It must be within
That
your
makes
experience.
sense. Like,
But that is why laws are not by definition beyond the capacity of the universe. Do they say that nature is something not within the universe? Do they say this? Nature is something which is not within the universe.
No.
Do they say this? And they usually say, what is that? And Nursin says, if they mean by it, when they say nature, something which is not within the universe, then they are referring to a thing which exists in the form of absolute, which is not within the universe, we can only describe it as absolute. So it means you are talking about God, which that's what I mean, God, or by God. That's what I mean. The absolute being, not within the universe. So you name it nature, I name it God. But we are talking about the same thing. Something absolute, not within the universe. You understand this?
Logically, we're concluding.
So they say, instead of saying God, they said it nature. But of course, they don't mean that. None of the materialist philosopher means that nature is not within the universe.
Right, we're just reasoning. This
Yeah.
nature.
That doesn't make sense. That they have to demonstrate them, but put it in my experience,
Experimental.
the external existence of nature that I have to experience.
Right. It becomes, they need to be able to prove it experimentally if they can.
Yeah. Yeah, that I have to be convinced about its existence.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it must be logical. Logical must be related to something
Logical.
not of the universe. So that is why Quran says belief is in ghaib. Not it means ghaib means nothing within the capacity of the universe. But in the Quranic context, Quran means everything within the capacity of the universe points to its necessary existence. Right? It is not within the universe, within the capacity of the universe. How do you know that? Everything Quran says, every single being points to the necessary existence of such a being. That is the difference. The materialists cannot say this because they are always within the universe. Even nature is in the universe. Nature itself, the universe itself, is the nature. They refer to itself. For example, the tree is growing something. They say this is in the nature of the tree. Where is it? It is the tree. Look, this is just circular reasoning. It is the tree. Now I'm saying, what is the source of existence of the universe? The source of existence of the universe is the tree. It means tree is self-existing. Right? So you have to reason whether tree can be self-existing. Can we reason it? If you say, yeah, it just exists by itself, yes, it's possible, okay, go ahead. It doesn't make sense to me. It is continuously changing, it's subject to the order. How can it be self-existent? So ridiculous. It is subject to order.
Oh my goodness.
It cannot be self-existent one which is subject to the order. Does it make sense?
Mhm.
It's ridiculous, really ridiculous. They are trick, they use trick of the language, as the Quran says. I'm really, if you take the Quranic examples from it is historical reference, right? It means Jews do this to Torah. It is simplistic and nothing. It is nothing to do with me now. I don't know whether who's treating with it. I don't care. But for me, the kitab in the Quran is the universe. So, how can you misplace the meaning of the word from its context? Take it out. How can you do that? In the universe.
Within your
Yeah, saying that the tree exists because of its nature in this way. See
Yeah.
how they trick the word? It means tree exists because of tree. It is what is it called? This begs the question.
Mhm.
Simple, isn't it? Okay. I think we can start. So this is into a question, and the following subject is something to do with that, but related, but not really. Every subject is related to each other, but it is studying. This is going to study the matter from another perspective. Let's stop here. Okay? And mark it and March 2nd, 19. It was a hard, what do you say? hardcore, or
Then-
like the almond shell. It is hard to crack.
Yes.
So this last thing,
Mhm.
hard to crack to understand, but imitate is easy.
Mhm.
But understand and confirm it is really very difficult, and it needs a real effort.
I think what makes it, I guess, challenging is that what you said one word earlier, which was that it makes you really responsible.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake in, concluding, then you deal with that also.
Yeah. For example, if you are hungry, if everybody eats here and to their fill,
Yeah.
you get it.
Mhm.
So simple. Everybody is breathing. If you don't breathe, you die.
And then I have the
You have to do-
responsibility to eat well or not eat well, eat on time, not on time, and and make those decisions.
Yeah. So that is your responsibility.
Right. Which makes it,
Yeah.
a
But you can learn from others how to make food.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that when they eat it, you get food. So it is your personal responsibility. You learn from the others, but at the end of the day, you must satisfy yourself. Logically also the same. Somebody else may have its own logic, but you must be satisfied logically within yourself. And submit yourself to your conclusion
Mhm.
and act accordingly. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhaneke la ilme lena illa ma 'allamtana inneke entel alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. It is interesting. The truth is really interesting, but it is hard to grasp. It is easy to confirm, but hard to grasp. To get it, it's hard.
And once you get it, then it's easy to
Then it is
confirm.
very easy to confirm. It's very human. Alhamdulillah.
Kind of cracked a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit
After
cracked.
you crack the shell, it's easy to eat inside. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, see you on Wednesday.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Even it snows,
Oh, yes.
as long as it is not freezing and public transportations work, inshallah. Yeah.